Vegeta's 5H has half the recovery that it used to. It's now -5 on block. This was the frame data before. It was -10 on block. This change does open up new potential routing for Vegeta. As you can see, you could not link a 5L here in the old patch. And now you can. So now Vegeta has another way of safely ending his pressure. He's going to be able to probably true string into more options than he could before, as well as get new links and combos. Like the rest of the cast, he can now cancel his jump specials into jump heavies. This will let him add these in as extra hits in some of the combo routes that he couldn't do before, increasing his overall damage. In the previous version, the light and medium versions of his command grab, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give you a 3, only had Ki Blast immunity. Now they have full projectile immunity. This increases their potential use cases in neutral. However, I still think that most people are going to be gravitating towards using his EX version of this move. Speaking of that version, it's been nerfed. In the previous patch, it was given guard point to pretty much everything in the game. The only way that you could beat it was to crouch to make it whiff, vanish to make it whiff, or use a super to completely shred through the armor. There was very little counterplay to it that you could actually invoke. The way they nerfed it, I think, is actually interesting, and it's a system mechanic nerf as well. Basically, if a move has a guard point now, any air attacks can no longer be blocked with armor moves. So, what this effectively means for Blue Vegeta here is that you can now finally 2H this. However, if you try to do anything other than an anti-air move, this will win. It maintains the skip neutral identity for the move, but also gives a counterplay. If your character has an anti-air move, you can also use that in situations in airborne positions or on the ground to beat this as well. It's a good way to nerfing it. It makes it a lot more interesting to engage with, while maintaining its strengths. The EX version of Super Dash Kick, the first move of Blue Vegeta's Rekka series, has a few changes. The startup has been sped up. Point blank range is now 10. However, there's also adjusted movement speed, and the speed is reduced when you're near the opponent as well. At full screen, this reaches in 18 frames. And depending on the ranges, it's pretty consistent to get anywhere between 16 to 14 frames. Again, outside of that 10 frame startup at point blank. At point blank range, we're able to see that from the previous patch, it's been sped up by 2 frames. Since previously, it was 12 frame startup. Additionally, this is how it behaved at other positions on screen. 18 frame startup, 18 frame startup, 16 frame startup. So overall, the move is just more likely faster in most situations as well, making it even more threatening up close at range. This might help out with some of Blue Vegeta's combo sequences, as well as potential side swap routes or various other things for the character, giving him pickups that we might not have had them before. With the changes to level 1s, Vegeta's Niagra Pummel actually becomes a pretty terrifying super to threaten from with neutral, considering that it leads to a full combo. Just something to keep in mind. Again, it's not going to be a really great reversal option for the character, but it is something to consider when it comes to how often an opponent might want to throw a Kamehameha at you or not. Vegeta's B assist sees a few changes. His spawn location is different, and he now moves a little faster as well, I believe. In the current patch, he actually spawns quite ahead in front of you, meaning that he's actually somewhat of a bit of a good neutral threat. This is how this assist behaved in the old patch. He would spawn next to you pretty much, so he didn't really have the same full screen presence as he now has. Additionally, his presence at the mid-screen was almost non-existent since this would whiff. It's a nice buff for the B assist, as many Blue Vegeta players who don't want to learn the nuances of his A assist would gravitate towards this pretty functional strike lariat assist. Now, it's even better. His C assist was also given faster startup, like many other C assists in this patch. This was the old property. 35 frame startup. This is the new startup. Like many other grounded lariat strike style assists that are C assists, it now isn't pretty fast at 23 frames startup, meaning that it's a pretty viable jump scare to lock the opponent down, especially considering it has 55 frames of block stun. There might be some interesting choices to make between what assist that you want to run for Blue Vegeta here, and I think all of them are in a pretty viable spot now. Blue Vegeta's patch notes are short, but they're honestly exactly what I think he needed. He was obnoxious to fight in the previous version of the game, with his EX command grab just being a completely ignore neutral move and forcing you to have to remain crouched on the ground. Now, there's actually some interesting counterplay to it that is going to give him dynamic matchups. Characters that don't have an anti-air or special move in the air are going to fear fighting this character, but other characters that do have that option, like Super Saiyan Goku, Cell, Janemba, Labco21 for example, they're going to make him think twice before he just throws out that automatic skip neutral tool. It's good to see that the character is going to be still in a strong spot, I think, as I do think he's one of the cooler characters to be playing in the most recent years of Dragon Ball FighterZ. And honestly, he's got the exact nerf that he needed to do. So overall, I'm pretty happy with where Blue Vegeta is in this patch. He's a good character that offers a lot to a team, but now the most frustrating element of him has been toned down to be pretty fair.